She-Hulk Exposed.
Mm.
Now, we reviewed She-Hulk and talked about She-Hulk. In the early episodes, we gave She-Hulk a chance.
Yep.
You know, we liked where it was going, but there's something. Let's actually look at this. This is from a post on X. I'm going to share a screen here, Alan, and you're going to see. From Daniel Friedman, the head writer and showrunner of She-Hulk was Jessica GAO.
Mm-hmm.
She was best known for being the credited writer on the Pickle Rick episode of Rick and Morty. During the production of that episode, Rick and Morty, showrunner Dan Harmon cast Susan Sarandon as the family therapist, a character GAO had named Dr. Wong in the script. GAO crashed out over the casting of a white actor for this part. In 2018, this was a major transgression. And as an act of contrition, Harmon did a podcast with GAO called Whiting Wongs, which is 40 hours of him apologizing and learning about racism. The writer credited on Pickle Rick episode and this podcast raised GAO's profile enough for her to land the showrunner gig on Marvel's Disney Plus She-Hulk show. But the production was extremely troubled. In addition to not staffing lawyers or legal drama writers on the show who could deliver on the Ally McBeal in the MCU pitch, the She-Hulk show required, as described by GAO in interviews, an extraordinary level of direct personal involvement and micromanagement from Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige. GAO described her relationship with Feige as supportive and collaborative, but she also describes him routinely intervening to reshape the show in the wake of catastrophic test audience responses. In the final episode, She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall of her show, climbs through the Disney Plus UI, and confronts a robot named Kevin, that has been controlling her life. Feige allowed this, but GAO wanted to put a baseball cap on the robot like the one Feige wears, and that was a bridge too far for him. According to an interview GAO gave The Hollywood Reporter, she threatened to resign if the robot could not wear the hat, and Feige immediately accepted her resignation. A visual designer managed to mediate the dispute by incorporating a hat-like element into the robot's design. The show was canceled after the first season. The cast has been released. None of its events have been referenced in any other Marvel productions, and She-Hulk star Tatiana Maslany is not in Avengers Doomsday. Jessica GAO has no IMDb credits since She-Hulk was canceled in 2022. What do you think of that? And I've got a video clip we can show.
Yeah.
Addresses some of this.
Alan,
what do you think?
None of this surprises me. It was She-Hulk came out. Look, you and I liked the first few episodes of She-Hulk. I think a lot of it was okay. It's not awful. We can give it a chance.
Well,
and we had,
here's the
what? It's not awful. We can give it a chance. We had the luxury of having at least the first half of the episodes to be able to watch and binge. Madison was a great character, and why Madison is not in Doomsday, I don't understand. But what was happening at this time was minority voices not being heard, and what it sounds like is, and I think we've had this confirmed, but it seemed like a lot of shows were hiring minorities to write an episode in order to give themselves credit for being a television writer, and then using that one episode to then go to Marvel and other places and say, look, I'm a minority voice who has written television, you must hire me. And Marvel made the fatal mistake of actually hiring that person, who A, only got the job because she was a minority voice and not an accomplished television writer, and B, found out instantly that she was not qualified to do her job, to the point where this falling out between not only Dan Harmon and the sad, pathetic apology tour he made on that podcast, but also to Kevin Feige, to his credit, did not put up with her crap. And so, again, none of this surprises me. And I'm sad to see Asians stooping this low. We are better than that. Oh, you're muted, Chris.
Here you can see the logo for the podcast, Whiting Wongs. Let me play this.
I bet they thought this was funny too.
This is Dan Harmon talking to Jessica Gao on this show, and we'll find a good place to end it. But listen in their own words.
Is it funny that Susan Sarandon's playing Dr. Wong? Is one question. Answer that. Is it funny?
That was a great segue into having me answer a question.
Thank you.
Well, here's the thing. It might seem really, really insignificant to most people, and by most people, I mean white people.
Default people, I like to call them.
Default people. The factory settings people. But the thing is, you just have to think about it in context, like the wider context of things. It's that because there are so few roles and opportunities for Asian actors or Asian American actors or any actor of color, like it just means so much more when a character or a role like that is gone,
Right.
And so,
because it's like 100% of that episode and probably that season's Asian roles just went out the window.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it means more, because like if you're the default casting choice and you're 95% of the roles could go to you. Like if one role was changed, unless you were like an incredibly petty person, you'd be like, oh, whatever, who cares? That's an insignificant role. That is a drop in the bucket for me, But if there was only one opportunity for you and then it gets taken away from you, it's glaring, and you just feel invisible and unrepresented. And the thing with representation is it's important because if you're a white person who grew up in America, you don't have the experience of knowing what it's like to grow up and never seeing someone who looks like you on TV, and that makes a huge impact on your development and how you see yourself in the world and in the society that you live in. To grow up in America and never ever see someone who looks like you on TV. And it filters down to like the most basic levels of like play in children, because if other kids will be like, you can't be Superman or you can't be Wonder Woman because because you don't look like them.
Yeah, eloquently put. Again, that's our introduction. That's why I wanted. That's why then we started laughing about. Well, look, because I think it's as silly as any of you do listening to myself talk about race, but
quick
it's
insufferable. You can curate and choose what you watch. If you're not seeing yourself on TV, watch other TV. I mean, even as a kid, I watched a lot of shows where there were Asians. There were a lot, everything from Johnny Sacco, Ultraman, Toho Godzilla movies. I don't know.
But I need to push back on that because those are Asian imports.
Correct.
She's talking about Asian Americans who can't get work, which is true. The representation in Hollywood of Asian Americans is incredibly low, and people always use the example of, well, there's a lot of Asian stuff, but again, it's all imported. It's not from America. Right. But to this point, though, I mean, I would find it interesting. What if instead of Susan Sarandon, he had cast a black actress to play that role, to play Dr. Wong. What would she say then? And I think what is happening here with me is I'm just so tired of this conversation. Just make your stuff. This idea. Okay, I'll put it this way. She is behind the scenes writer. She's not the writer. Putting her as the writer of this episode, it was more of a reconciliation than anything. The issue and the point of all of this is she was not prepared nor qualified to be the writer and showrunner of She-Hulk. And as the title says, we're exposing this. You can have this conversation all you want, but the fact is remaining, they hired an Asian woman to do this show, and she wasn't qualified. She wasn't ready for it.
Well, let's continue watching a little bit more or listening to a little bit more of the podcast.
And so we started laughing about that and said, let's do a podcast. And here we are, waiting Wongs.
Yeah.
Now it's like neither of us, we don't have bachelor's degrees in ethnography or what ethnology. Like we're not claiming to be experts on anything. I don't want to say it's a joke podcast that it's all a big gag, but it should be taken with that much of a grain of salt. Like I'm looking forward to the opportunity to just talk about the shit that in other contexts people just start to cringe and they look at the floor and they don't want you to talk about it because especially if you are white, woe is me, woe is my white alabaster soul, like, because you China people, you're always talking about how privileged I am, but think about how upsetting it is for me to not be able to talk about race at all.
You're the real victim here.
Yeah.
The single phrase I hear the most from Dan is "Woe is my alabaster soul."
But yeah, and I don't think Jessica, I won't put words in her mouth, but I don't think. But you're an expert on one thing, which is being Asian.
Yes, I am the foremost expert,
and I'm an expert, I guess, on being default or neutral or vanilla or white or dominant or privileged or whatever it is.
This is basically, at least my hope is that this is an honest conversation between two people who think very highly of themselves.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, what I like about it is if you clicked on this podcast, you saw the description and you listened to it. So you can't complain that a fat white middle-aged dude is talking to an Asian writer about Asian American writer about race. So anyways, so we're just going to be all over the fucking map. I think we'll just talk for 45 to an hour or something like that.
Sure.
We'll take a break in the middle in case anyone ever wants to advertise during it. But who knows? We might end up talking about oatmeal or something.
Well,
I mean, how much longer is this? Damn.
It's a whole hour, but
this is an HR struggle session.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But all I'm saying is this attitude from her, it explains why She-Hulk went so awry.
Right.
And additionally, I just think she may have been inexperienced. She didn't fulfill what you and I thought the show was going to be, which is Ally McBeal with superheroes. It'll be fun. We'll have supervillain challenges. It'll be She-Hulk shenanigans. It'll be like the comic book. But the decision to make the fans, the incel fans, the villains in the show was so wrong, or can I say wrong-headed?
Yeah, you just did. Yeah.
Can I just say that it was so wrong-headed that it explains why that show ended up being so bad.
Yeah, to me it's the entitlement. It's just because she is who she is, a Asian woman. She got the position because she demanded it, and two, when you get yourself in this position where she's the Asian voice, blah blah blah, that also means she can't take notes, and that's what was indicative with the whole Kevin Feige thing. I think he tried his best to mentor and bring her along because he's been doing it for so long, but it was clear that she wasn't willing to take notes. And look, for someone who hasn't written that long, you don't know how to write television. There are rules, there are things that have to be considered, and if you're trying to reach a broad audience, you've got to follow those rules. And she wouldn't do it. think
between that post and that podcast, we really learned why that show failed. That's
why things went wrong.
Why things went wrong.